Well, good evening again. And this is October, and the theme for October, which is a part of the Centers for Spiritual Living's global vision, is as follows. Through individual transformation, it's global transformation through individual transformation. And the topic for this week is that we believe in one indestructible, absolute, self-existing cause. So the talk title is One Absolute Cause. So knowing and fully realizing that there is only one cause of all that there is only one cosmic reality and presence in the universe. I happen to call it God. And this vibration has sprung forth of itself into and as all of creation. This vibration having no beginning and having no end, because of that, it is perpetually re-expressing itself. So all creation exists in this one source, God, and God is all that there is. In science of mind, there are so many names that exist for this absolute one cause. One power, the thing itself, love, first cause, spirit, life, love, intelligence, creative intelligence, the absolute, the universal mind, the changeless, the infinite knowingness, the supreme being, the divine presence. These are all words that refer to God. And I can go on and on with names, but I'll stop at that. There's also been various names or terms used in various cultures or philosophies to express this concept of God. The Native American Indians worshipped the Great Spirit. The traditional Christians say God. Lao Tzu called it the Tao. And I'm going to throw in Einstein. He called it the unified field theory. That's pretty interesting. The unified field theory. So whatever name you call it, whatever name resonates with you, the important thing to remember, as I always say, is that everything is all God and that God is all that there is. Now, from the New Thought Dictionary, here's a definition that I found for absolute, since we're talking about the one absolute cause. It says, the God principle, the supreme, the unknowable, unthinkable, unmanifest, yet manifest in all, the unconditioned, yet in every condition, that which is back of all that is manifested in all universes, known and unknown to man, that which is all life, all power, the formless, which is form, the changeless, which includes all change, the infinite life principle, omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. The great self-existence cause back of all that is. That was found in the New Thought Dictionary. So how does the one absolute cause, which has no beginning and no end, how does it express itself? How does it express itself? Well, it re-expresses itself through each and every living and non-living thing. It re-expresses itself through animals, through plants, through nature, through each and every human being. Each human being is a creation of God made of God substance. It is a unique, individualized incarnation of spirit. This incarnated spirit is your essence, is your essence, is my essence, is the essence of everything living and non-living thing in the cosmos. And this essence, this God stuff, this energy, if you will, that is eternal, which is the stuff which all form is made, is indestructible. This God essence is indestructible. We are made of this essence. And this essence is unique to each and every one of us. And this essence could never be lost. This essence could never be damaged, diminished, or destroyed throughout our journey. Here, in this vibration, or throughout any journeys in the future. In different vibrations that are yet to come for each of us. Remember this, today and forever, each and every one of us are expressions of God right where we stand. God in me, God as me, and God is me. I'm going to repeat that. God in me, God as me, and God is me. And we have the opportunity to express this vibration in our own unique, individualized way. To me, that's exciting. To me, that makes life interesting. To actually see how people are expressing the divine. I love to people watch and just look at everyone going by and just seeing how diverse and how unique each and every one is. So I invite you to remember that we're all made of the same God stuff, because all that we know to be is the expression of the one and only cause. There is no other substance for which anything is created. No other substance. So each of us is made in the likeness of and of the same substance as our divine creator. Now imagine if we really believed that. We, like our Creator, are made of indestructible God essence. And if we really embody that, or when we really believe that, and when we really embody that fact, and the more and more we embody that fact, I so believe that each of us would be so open, or we would be more open to the wide array of possibilities that exist in the mind of God, and we would place greater faith in our own intuition. You know, and coming from this essence, this realization, and living from this God-given power, when I can do that, personally, I feel so uplifted. I feel so powerful. And any fears that I might have had, they fall away. They fall away because I know that I am one with this power, one with this vibration, one with this energy. It's like I vibrate at such a high level, when I realize that I am coming from this essence. And I believe that level of vibration, that high level of vibration, really uplifts not only me, but everyone around me. It lifts up all humanity. So because each of us is an incarnation of the one Spirit, and that all life is inseparably one, and that there is a divine wholeness, there's an interconnectedness at the source. And any time that I might feel any type of separatedness, I bring myself back to the oneness that is irrevocable, that is eternal. This is who I am. This is who each one is. We are all one with God, one with each other, one with nature, one with life, be it animate or inanimate. We are all connected. We are all connected. Even the people that push your buttons. We are all connected. And when we can walk around with that namaste attitude, as I call it. The good in me sees the good in you sees the good in me, the Christ in me sees the Christ in you. That does a whole lot for humanity. So I believe that when we live, move, and breathe and have our being in this connectedness, that is when each of us have that experience of the beauty, the greatness, and the magnificence of life in our day-to-day experiences. To me, that's great. If I can have that, or not if, as I have that in my day-to-day experience, I walk around in bliss. I walk around in bliss. So I'd like to end the part of my talk tonight with these last few statements. So the nature of God, this essence of God, which has been given to each and every one of us, can never, ever be diminished by any one person, any one experience, not even ourselves. We can't diminish our essence because it has been God-given. And when we, at times, are not living from this essence, it really doesn't mean that it's not there. We just lose sight of it. We lose sight of that essence. So I say, know who you are and whose you are. And I invite you to realize that there is that one absolute cause, and that is where we all come from. Thank you.
One absolute cause. Isn't that a cool concept? You know, that's how Ernest starts the science of mind, with the thing itself. The actual first chapter in the science of mind is the thing itself. I just can't imagine that in that time period when he wrote it like the first time, which is in 1926, I think, and and then it was rewritten in 1934. But can you imagine the way people would look at that by looking at this book and seeing the thing itself talking about God? Back in those days, that was pretty interesting, right? That was really like a stretch. That's probably why he had to leave New England and go to California at that time, because I'm sure that in New England he wouldn't have been well received. So again, just the topic is actually coming from what we believes. It's coming from a part of the what we believes. We believe in one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause, which is really powerful when you realize that. Now, do you find it hard sometimes from our human brain to conceive an absolute self-existent cause from our human brain? It's kind of tough sometimes. It's a stretch. It's something we have to kind of work on. And it's taken me many years too. And when I'm in that zone of being able to recognize that, my life is really flowing well. But when I'm not, it's always a little bumpy and choppy. So Ernest Holmes says, in religious science, self-existent is defined as living by virtue of its own being. An absolute and self-existent cause then means that principle, that power, and that presence which makes everything out of itself, which contains and sustains everything within itself. God is absolute, self-existent cause. So it's like God wanted to wake up and experience itself, and so it brought forth this thing that we experience that some call creation, I call it life, we can call it whatever we want. But this life that we live is the divine expressing itself. It's recognizing itself. Now that quote comes from Living the Science of Mind, a book written by Ernest Holmes, which is a great book. It's just this great book like for easy reference to different things. It's wonderful. So God is making my life, and God is out of itself. And that's true not only of me, but of each one of us here. God is making itself out of each life here. And each life that we run into throughout the day, no matter, as you said, Rev Ed, and that's that, that sometimes those people who push our buttons, we question whether they're God stuff or not. Nobody here judges that, I'm sure. But so if we can take the time to really wrap our brain around that idea of this absolute self-existent cause. So I would like to change something here, because often what we see in the world is, what's in it for me? We've all heard that, right? What's in it for me? We've all experienced it. It's like, ooh, I have this great idea. You want to join me in this? Well, what's in it for me, right? The person you're talking to. So that's why I always say, if you have like a really exciting dream that you want to experience and we're working on here, sometimes you have to know who you're talking to. And you don't share that with certain people, because they're going to want to take that away from you. So you always have to remember where you're sharing it and know that you're being supported by the people that you're sharing it with. So I want to change that. I want to change that to, what's in it for we? What's in it for we? Notice how that is a major shift from what's in it for me to what's in it for we, or for us. I just thought we sounded more fun. So it was really interesting as I was thinking about this, because if we look at it in that way, it seems like if there's good in something for me, then there should be good in something for all of us, or we. And I think that's important when we're looking at things. And I think that that's true when we're coming from that place of really being in alignment with that first cause, with that first reality. Ernest Holmes says in the book Love and Law, everything is the one ultimate substance. All substance is as indestructible as God, for it is all God. God's center is everywhere, and circumference is nowhere. Isn't that cool? Its circumference is nowhere. Yet each of us is a center of that divine energy. So that means in our life, when we can get to that point of breaking through that limited idea of thinking that, this body is all that we are, because we know it's more than that, right? This body is really just the vessel that carries the essence of the divine in our form. So if we can open our minds up to that bigger area, imagine the things we can have in our lives. Imagine how our lives can be. How we can experience life. It will be beyond our human brain, because our human brain tends to put things in little boxes. But when we can open up to the divine mind, we get to that bigger level. So what I always like to say is that, by doing that, by taking the time to do that, and how do we do that? How do we make that happen in our lives? Is it through our spiritual practices? When we do our spiritual mind treatment, when we do our affirmations, when we do those things, we are opening up and we're working on getting into that alignment. When we do that meditation, I always like to say that when we do spiritual mind treatment, we're talking to God. When we meditate, we're listening to God. So we've got those two things going on there because they're very important, because there is that time when we quiet our minds. And it isn't always like, it's like some people say, oh, but I never got an answer from meditation. I said, yeah, but did you get an answer later on in the day when something happened and you realized it's like, oh, that's what I was thinking about. People think that God's going to come in and just say something to us. And I've heard the voice of the divine, not in an audible way, but in different areas of my life. I've known there's been an essence within me that felt that numinous experience where I just knew that something was a message from the divine. Has anyone ever experienced that? Felt that? So I think those are those little cracks or glimpses that we get that make us want to really pursue this journey. Because this journey that we do here is much different than the journey of most religious beliefs. It's a much more responsible journey. I am responsible for my unfoldment and opening into the universe. So it's really important that we realize how powerful this is and how powerful our lives can be when we can recognize that cause, when we can remember that cause. So infinite mind is receptive. If we're in a place of being receptive to that infinite mind, then the divine can express as us. If I can allow my mind to be in that place, the divine can then express as me. So this is awakening to the cause that lives in me and as me. That is what our spiritual practices do, as I mentioned before. They awaken us to the cause within, to that first cause, which is trying to express through us. Our desires and our things that we wish to experience in life are really the divine trying to express through us. And then what we do is we take those, we receive those, and then we plant those into that creative medium, and we clear away the weeds of the limitations in our lives, and we receive the form in our life, the physical experience. And sometimes it's a period of time. As Ernest Holmes said, sometimes prayer is a process, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's immediate. I know there have been times when I did spiritual mind treatments for people, and in that moment, there was like, that's what I needed to know. Something that I said, even in the prayer, was the word or the phrase or whatever it was that that individual needed to hear to move on. And it's like, that's what I needed. So it can be instantaneous, or it may be a process. And there's nothing wrong with either one, because divine timing is way different than human time. Because human time is, I noticed that as we get older, we start to say, oh, time's moving faster, right? So we need to change our mindset on that. Time is not moving faster because I'm getting older.
In the mind of the divine, there's no time.
Exactly.
Time doesn't.
Exactly. Time doesn't exist. There's no time and space within that infinite mind. So it is. It's very powerful. So from this awakened state, we can truly affect not only our lives, but the lives of all we come in contact with. Again, that's the pebble in the pond, right? Because as we change, there's a ripple effect going on as each one of us moves into that higher level. So together, let's give this gift of living from the awakened self. The awakened self, that's that capital S self that we talk about, right? It not only gives permission to others and allows others to step forward into their beingness, but it gives us an opportunity to be, as individuals around us, you will know, desire information, we will be able to impart that information in a way that they can hear, so that they can start their awakening process. Because we're always affecting people around us continuously, with our words, with our phrases, with our behaviors, how we're showing up in the world. And that's how we're going to make a difference in the world. That's how, as it started in the beginning, as self-transformation will bring about world transformation. Because my self-transformation is always expanding out because I'm always in the world. I'm always with new people. I'm always in new places. And when I start using words that are positive and empowering, people are going to hear that because it's different than what they hear in the world. It's different than what they hear on the news or in other places. So it's really important that we realize that we are empowering the world. We are a force for good in the universe. So will you join me in flinging open the door